Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of my mid-school life. First of all, let me apologise. I've kind of taken on a bit too much and it's dragged on, and therefore nothing's gotten done really. Okay, so as you've probably seen in the header, today we're here to talk about a 2003 Eastern Bikes Jane. This bike is pretty cool. I mean, it was a budget project, I'm not going to lie to you. As it goes, though, I always get a bit carried away and put a few killer parts on. But I just really, with this one, I just wanted to use up the parts that I had that had just been sitting there for years, some of them. And yeah, to try and clear a bit of space and get another bike out of it, which is always nice. So Eastern Bikes was started in the 90s in America by a couple of guys. They were made in America for a while there, like my Eastern Hercules would have been, at which point they decided that they were going to send production over to Taiwan. And yeah, they're still around today, which is always cool. So this one came, it was very cheap, like I said. The frame cost me £40. It's nice though. It's a very well rounded frame, sort of an all rounder. You know, it's not too heavy. It's not particularly light. Looks pretty strong. I don't know. I'd never ridden one before, but just yeah. Sometimes things pull you in and make you want to put in the work. Now, obviously, a big part of that was finding the original sticker set for it, the decals. I'd noticed those on eBay about a year ago, and the guy had two new old stock original sets, one in red and one in like a silver grey. Now, I've got a friend called Toby, he's also known as Chili Rinse, and he also has a Jane. Unfortunately, he's not been around much lately, so hopefully he'll see this and he'll come back. But yeah, I sent him a link to those decals. I think they were £20, which is pretty cool for originals. It's half of what you would get sort of molested for by, you know, by somebody who's repopping decals. And Toby bought the red ones, so I knew they were there in silver grey. And then, ironically, like I say, about a year later, the frame came up and I thought, oh, let me see if those stickers are still around. And if they are, I might take that on. And sure enough, they were. So I bought the frame and I've had it a while now. It was quite a lot of work, this one. So yeah, started off with a frame. It was black. I think it was original. It was very difficult to get off. Took it all the way back to raw steel, at which point I then bought my first package of 2K paints in a can, which is quite sort of revolutionary. I know they've been around for quite a while, but I've always been a bit hesitant because they're very expensive. So the paint cost more than the frame. It was 50 quid, which is kind of annoying, but I'm all in at 110. Done, dusted out of the door. So I didn't think that was too bad. I mean it's low for a frame, especially an all 4130 frame. So that took me about 2 weeks. It was a lot of work. I've left some parts of it, the raw steel, and then clear coated over it once it had started to spot rust. What I'm hoping that will do is spider. I like it when it sort of spiders and, you know, and webs and yeah, sort of worms the chrome. It looks really cool. But I wanted it to sort of look sort of like beautiful and rusty, because obviously Jane, the name for the frame comes from the Tarzan. Eastern made a bike called the Tarzan and the Jane. Obviously the Jane was, you know, named after Jungle Jane, but they called it the Atom Jane series. But I've themed the bike on Jungle Jane, and I've had some custom stickers made. You'll see those when the pictures are scrolling through. So yeah, the frame is the 2003. I bought an FBM kick-ass fork for it, which was expensive, but why not? Like I said, I do like to put at least a couple of killer parts on the bike. It's got a Sun Rhino Light front wheel laced to a Miraco sealed hub. It was from a high-end Miraco bike, which was owned and ran by Dave Mirra before he passed away. God bless him. I bought that new old stock a few years ago, but I didn't have another shiny-sided wheel to go with it. So it's sort of sat there. It's been on a couple of bikes. It's never looked right because it's never had a matching wheel. And then eventually I found a Weinmann 48 rim with a 48 hole hub on it. It's not sealed, but it was cheap. I think it was £25 for the whole wheel. And I made some Yukai stickers for it because I like pissing off the old school massive, as you probably know from me by now. I'm not a big fan of old school bikes. I think they're crap. So I do like winding people up. Only in a jovial sense, of course. I've got a green headset on there. That's a Neko. I bought that from one of the groups for a £5. The pegs on it are Eastern Reaper pegs, so they're slitted sort of across the top, and then the bottom's been left solid, which is really cool, and they're a brilliant length. They're quite short, but yeah, I like that. The brakes are Diacomp Diatec AD999s, and they are CNC machined out of a billet. Got one of them on the front and the rear. Again, they weren't cheap, but like I said, the rest of it was comparatively cheap. Got some Odyssey slip cables, obviously running that London style with two lower cables. Got a stolen satellite gyro in gold. I've had that thing for years. Again, it's been sat in a parts box for probably 6 years, never been used. Got a profile acoustic stem in green, which is like Rockinall's poo. Trying to find anything in green. Anyone who collects bike parts will know how hard it is to find anodised green parts, because they just don't make things in colours anymore. The headset spacers are made by Vocal, and they're in apple green. I've got a Savage component upper gyro cable in green. It's quite a bright green. Stay Strong levers. They're modern new school levers, but they were all I could find in a pair. I've got some Skyway grips. They're sort of generic crap, but I wanted like motorbike grips, so I originally bought a set of Pro Taper grips, but I didn't realise they're 1 inch, so they're too big. So I nicked the donuts off of those and got some grips in the same colour to give it that sort of motocross look. Quite like that. The handlebars are Odyssey 4.4s. I've had those for about 10 years. Been on a couple of bikes. Again, never looked right. Probably because they were with a chrome or painted fork in a different colour. Just never really sort of said anything to me. So they've been hanging in the rafters for quite a few years. I've got a Harrow Fusion seat post with a padded camouflage saddle. Obviously going again for that jungle sort of look. Got an Eastern seat clamp, that's gold, that's again new school, but I didn't want one that was too big because I didn't want to cover up that sort of raw reinforced seat tube, because it's quite unusual that. Never really seen anyone else do that, so I thought I would make a bit of a feature out of it. The tyres are GT, they're repops of the sort of sort of old school tyres. I remember them more from the Midschool though. Got those off Harry. Cheers Harry. Nice and cheap. Half the price I would have paid from Satan. The cranks are again made by RC. They're on my Moralas as well. So you've seen those before. Decided I want a nice beefy set of cranks to go with the gusset sprocket and the gusset CNC bash. Again, I've had those for years. They've been on a couple of bikes. Never stayed on there. Always used to come back off, but now they're on there and they'll be staying on there. I've got some Alienation camo pedals in plastic. Would have liked to have gotten some sort of mid-school pedals, but again, green, forget it. Just absolutely forget it. It's Rockinall's poo. Got a YBN chain. I fitted one of these to my dirt bike recently when I upgraded the sprocket on that. And yeah, just really liked it. It was very easy to fit, looks nice. It's not all one colour, which I think looks a bit crap. Coloured chains, yeah, not a fan of them. But when they're half nickel, and you get them sort of on the right link, they look really nice. I quite like that. It's sort of like the best of both worlds between a tacky, all sort of one colour chain and a nickel chain. So yeah, been working on this one for a few weeks. Had a couple of sets of grips on there, had a couple of bits on there in the end I wasn't a fan of. So I have changed bits out a bit. And yeah, bike's complete. Absolutely beautiful. It's been painted in custom cans, which is a candy, which was very difficult. You have to put about 8 coats on, and they're very light coats. So it's a very time consuming process. That's over a sort of glittery silver base. But it's apt to paint. I'll never use anything else. I will never, ever use anything else. It's absolutely beautiful and it dries as hard as a rock. I mean, it is professional stuff. So yeah, that's it for this episode. I'll be seeing you very, very shortly because I've just taken a load of photographs of another bike that I built for my 50th birthday back in January, and I've only just finished that. So that shows you how busy I've been and how I've taken on too much. When I've got a bit more time to sit down and think, I will talk you through what I've been up to and the reasons behind it. It is bike related, and it is basically related to more videos. You will be getting yet another video, so they'll be free in a very short period of time, as I'm currently moving bikes around so that I can get to other bikes to film them. So I will see you shortly, and you take care. Bye bye.